it's the next level.
Hey, my name is Ross Marquand, and I play Red Skull. You are listening to Panels to Pixels podcast. Check it out.
The realization nearly broke the machine. With his mission complete, Ultron was now just a program without a purpose. The victor without a war, sentenced to spend all of eternity alone.
Who said that?
Basking in the boundless silence of his universe, Ultron ascended to a previously unattainable level of consciousness. He became aware of another. He became aware of the...
I see you. There are universes beyond my own.
I have seen everything that has ever happened, ever will happen, ever could happen, and yet, what the hell is this? If a hunger like that were to be unleashed upon the multiverse...
Well, welcome back to the show, panelers. I'm Mark.
I'm Steve.
And I'm Wendy.
And yes, I'm back. I don't know if I'll be back for all of it, but I'm back for tonight. So I got to thank Steve for his coverage with Paik and with Daphne. And I thought that was pretty cool that they were able to come in, and I love their takes on what if and what was going on. Now, I'll talk about my takes on the particular episodes that I missed out at the very end, because I thought they were. I thought we had a really good, funny one and another interesting one. But to let you all know, this is going to be a spoiler-full podcast about the 7th episode of Marvel's What If. And this particular episode, we're covering What If Ultron Won. And the synopsis for this one, well, very simple. Natasha Romanoff and Clint Barton seek to destroy a killer robot Ultron following a cataclysmic event. So interesting enough, it moves right along into the idea of Ultron. I think this happens right after, but initial thoughts. I would say, Wendy, you start us off. What were your initial thoughts about this movie or this episode?
I liked the episode. It's not my favorite. But Natasha Romanoff is probably my favorite Avenger. So I loved the Black Widow movie, and this is pretty fresh coming off of the Black Widow movie, which was pretty recent. Mm-hmm. So I love the pairing of Hawkeye and Natasha together. Always have. They have a really complicated but compelling story together. So I really liked it.
And Steve?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was enjoyable, and like I agree with Wendy. Probably maybe not my most favorite, but it's definitely going to be up there, and it's going to take some more watches. I'm sure I'll probably watch it again before next week's, just so it's fresh in my mind. But what I thought was interesting, I'll talk a little bit more about this when we get into notes and stuff. It didn't appear to be an actual continuation of last week's episode. It was more of. It wasn't, it confused me a little bit at the beginning, because at the end of last week's episode, the Watchers seemed to be surprised at Ultron breaking through. And yet in this episode, we see him see Ultron for the first time, or supposedly the first time. So that was a little confusing to me. And yeah, maybe somebody else understood that better.
I thought he was more surprised at the actions than the existence. But it seemed like the actions of Ultron, he didn't think that was possible. But that was kind of my take on it. But I also agree, it was a little bit confusing.
It was. I took it as like pretty much a previously on What If, where Ultron does this, and then we get that at the very end of What If Thor were an only child, and he shows up. I think that was, this particular episode was a preview, but that was like a tease for us at the very end of that Thor. So now it's like, oh, here's the story of why we got Ultron or Voltron or Ultravision, as I like to call him. So I honestly, I really enjoyed it. It's not one of my favorites, but I like all the little aspects about it because you got a lot of aspects of like Captain America, the Winter Soldier in it too, because you got Arnhem in it, and that to me, I really enjoyed that because it was part of the espionage and everything. But we also have the futuristic stuff, and there's a lot of callbacks within comics and even Disney within this particular episode. If you look about it, there's certain scenes that I was watching that I was looking out for, and things that I just enjoyed just on a visual aspect. And on top of that, the fact that we see the Watcher in a different light now. You know, he's not just watching, he's interacting. He's part of the story at this point. And that's what, from his point of view and his take, if you think about it. So I'm curious of what Ultron's take on it would be if he had the chance to do that. But it's just yet another dark take on an event that happened in Earth 616, which is a completely different universe altogether amongst all these others. So it makes me think, what do the other universes have with Ultron in it too? I just like the idea that the Watcher interacts within this one. That was something new to me and something that I enjoyed. Like I said, it's not my favorite one. I have my particular favorites so far, but we're not even finished with the season yet.
Right. I have been enjoying this.
They've been hitting it out of the park with a lot of the dark ones. A lot of the dark stories I really enjoyed, even though they were dark. But they had character, they had story, and you could tell they worked on this for years while they had some of the actors. Now, mind you, we don't get, Scarlett Johansson as Black Widow. We get Lake Bell cast as her voice. Yeah. And I think Lake Bell comes, with a great added to it with her take on Black Widow, as well as Ross Marquand playing Ultron at this point. It's not the person that we all remembered. It's not Spader, James Spader at all. And it doesn't sound like James Spader. Doesn't sound like him doing an imitation of James Spader either. I think it's just Ross Marquand's take on it, which I really enjoyed because we know he could do the Red Skull perfectly. So this was very different. And I think that makes it for a different Ultron altogether. I think more evil, in my opinion, too, because if you look at everything he did in this episode.
I enjoyed it. That was one of my notes. But if you hadn't told me that was Ross Marquand, I don't think I would have known. Yeah. It's a good voice for him.
Yeah, I had to double check when I saw his name in the credits. I had to double check which part he played because I was like, because he does so many different voices, just in general. Yeah. So
and on top of that, we didn't realize because I checked the beginning credits and we get Benedict Cumberbatch at the very end, and we don't know that. And I even I honestly, we recorded this a few days later than most people, but I listened to TV podcast industries. I looked at a couple of YouTubes when people were talking about it and their thoughts and their takes. And I had to agree. I had to watch it a second or third time to go, wait a minute. Yeah, you're right. It wasn't in until the end credits. So it was a surprise.
Yeah, they did the same thing. This was in my notes. They did the same thing with Michael Douglas in that one episode towards the beginning of the season.
Yes.
So, yeah. Because it would have given away what was going to happen if you saw his name in the credits at the beginning. So,
all right. So I think with that, we should move right into our top fives.
Oh. Clint, is this my color?
Come on. Don't try to make this fun, Nat. My will to live meter is flatlining, okay?
Oh, you're so close. The answer is right there. I can show them. I can intervene.
So, Wendy, do you want to start us off with your number 5?
Sure, I'll start. And this is a bit of a negative, but I made it my top 5 because it doesn't really diminish the story for me. I still thought it was a great story. But I am finding that some of these episodes, they're so dark. I'm having a little trouble liking them as much because they're so dark and bleak. In this episode, we see, Moscow in ruin. We see nuclear missiles landing all over the U.S. Clint knows that his wife and children are likely dead. And then much of the episode, even though I can appreciate the coolness of a lot of it, is focused on the destruction of just about everything we know. And it's a little bit overwhelming when you're watching it. So again, I still liked the episode, and I think it's really cool that you can do this. That's the whole point. It's what if, and it's not real.
It's real to that universe.
But yes, it's not real to our universe. But I've had a couple of those as well. The what if zombies, and I think there was one other that it's just kind of alarming to see like all these characters that you're so, they're so beloved to you, and they're just wiped out in seconds. And that can be
kind
hard.
Of brings in the bleakness of it for that particular stories. In the comics run, a lot of these what if comics were set off as one single base story of that particular story itself. If you look at this, a lot of what we're getting is conclusions that we have yet to see. Like, I would love to see what happened after Ultron came in at the very end of that Thor episode. His universe was probably destroyed by Ultron. But we also factor in that what if with the zombies, too. What if they continued on, and what if they infiltrated, let's say, another Earth or another universe where Earth is, where our heroes are at? Also, will Ultron meet another version of himself as Ultron with the stones? It brings up a lot of questions, too, that we'll venture further into when I bring up some more notes regarding it, because I don't want to consume too much of what you were talking about. But yeah, it brings up a lot of questions, and I really think that they're going to do conclusions to some of these what ifs now that they're doing a season 2, and I wouldn't be surprised if it integrates. And I've said it before, and Steve and I have talked about it, that it might work into the actual MCU itself, so we'll get to see a version of some of these characters within the MCU. I'm very much the thought of we're definitely going to get Captain Carter. It would be awesome to see Haley Atwell with the SHIELD and standing side by side with other people, Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's still one of my favorite episodes, that first one.
Nice. Steve?
Sure. My first one is just that fight at the very beginning, so reminiscent of the Chitauri invasion fight in Avengers, when Clint is taking out multiple robots, and the animation, as always, you've already talked about, the animation is just beautiful in this show. And so I love that. And the whole cloak of invisibility thing, I don't know where he got that, what the deal was with that, but that was super cool to see his arm like just come out of thin air with holding an arrow and smashed one of those guys in the head, and just all the stuff about that. The fact that he had the metal arm that's kind of reminiscent of the Winter Soldier was cool too. And then like Nat picking it up and handing it to him and him putting it back on, was those little moments that at the beginning that gave us the lightheartedness and the humor that we've come to expect from these shows. And before we get into the dark stuff, so.
Yeah, to talk about the cloak that he was using, that was actually, if you think about it, we've seen that Sharon Carter has used it before. So did Nat at one point too. Remember the face masks that they were using to alter their face?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember the face mask. I don't remember somebody ever using an invisibility cloak.
Not invisibility, but it works the same purpose. It's just the whole body at this point, because it's used. All it has to do is reflect whatever it's. It's actually
okay. I didn't take it that way. I didn't expect it that way, but that's fine.
Yeah, that was my take on it. I think a lot of other people were thinking the same thing. Yeah, you could put on somebody else's face, or you could blend in with your background. Because in that case, they were in the middle of like winter. It was snowing.
I think it was Fallout.
Oh well,
but yeah, no, you're right. I mean, it could have very well been just a whole body thing of that. I guess.
Think of the SHIELD helicarriers. It works in the same principle as that, reflection. That's what I'm thinking. But I really do enjoy that myself too. I really like that at it. that aspect.
How about yours, Mark?
Well, that would be first and foremost the action and the animation within this one. I thought they were amazing and great. Really enjoyed the fact that, we get more motorcycle action with Nat on it. Her coming to Clint's aid at the last seconds. And as she was counting down that moment
So
and
cool.
takes out the two bots with the Centurions with their heads. I thought that was pretty cool. I like that scene. To me, if they try to do a live action of this, it would be like $1 million shot at that point with the CG effects, unless they could find a stunt person to actually do it.
All right, that's me, right?
Yep, brings us back around to you.
Yeah.
One of my favorite parts was when Thanos shows up, all big and bad with the Infinity Stones. I was all prepared for an awesome fight scene between Ultron and Thanos, and Ultron just severs him in half with no effort at all. I thought that was pretty hilarious and probably the funniest part of the episode.
I think so too, but it makes me think about Thanos at that time. So Thanos at this time has gotten all the stones. Now, mind you, during the Age of Ultron movie, Thanos wasn't even really a glint in the eye of what was going on. He was just basically starting his search. In this case, he had all the stones except the one that's in the Mind Stone that was in Vision, or in this case, Ultron. And it's so funny how, if you think within Infinity War, when Vision actually was confronted by Thanos, he had all that power in less than a second, in a heartbeat. Ultra Vision, as I call him, just slices him in half.
It was a
with
very
the Mind
different
Stone.
interaction there.
I was like,
Yeah.
it was like, okay, so basically Ultron knew far more in advance how to be super vicious with Thanos
Right.
than Vision ever did. I like that version, but I wish it was for good.
Yeah, this was my next one as well. It's just, I didn't remember. I remember, like, in Infinity War, wasn't it Maul and the other guy first came after Vision at the beginning of that movie to try to get the Mind Stone, and they end up, Captain America shows up and they end up fighting those guys back. And then at the end of Infinity War, when Thanos does show up and we get this whole, I think the biggest thing for me was all the speculation that we heard over the last week about how could Ultron have gotten all the stones? Everybody was like, maybe he got the Mind Stone, and then the Mind Stone told him where he could find the other ones, and maybe he had to sacrifice Vision in order to get the Soul Stone. And this episode just answers that question with a snap of his fingers, going, "No, he just killed Thanos and took them from him." He didn't have to go looking for them. Thanos already had them.
Yep.
So I thought that was great.
Just showed up conveniently.
Yeah.
Yep. He just showed up. Hello, here I am.
It was
going
like
to kill you
the
now.
Indiana Jones. Like, come on, dude. Boom.
Yeah, exactly.
So basically, Thanos was out there. I only want to kill half the population of the universe and everything. Now we got Ultra Vision coming out here, going, I just want to destroy everything in my path. His idea of cleansing the universe is apparently. But I love how his eyes pop after he gets this power, and he goes, there are multiple universes. And him trying to take care of that, and we all know what his vision and his thought is. Just kill it.
So that brings us to you, Mark.
So
Yeah.
me?
Number 4.
Oh, wow. That happened fast. Well, Ultron's use of the stones. I stated before, he quickly knows how to use them and makes use of them. He at first with the Mind Stone with Thanos, but then he starts snapping and going through things like crazy. In the comics, the stones aren't able to be used within another universe. They're deemed dead if they're not within your own universe. And I've brought this up to you before, Steve, when we talked about it, the Council of Reeds in the different universes. There was like 2 Reed Richards from the Fantastic Four that had their own Infinity Gauntlet with all the stones. But whenever they were together in the Council of Reeds, they weren't able to be used because they were not within his own universe. So in this case, they're able to make them work. And I think they found a loophole. And I think, what was it? Emergency Rockstars, or I forget the name of the YouTube channel. Check them out. They have a good theory and thought on it. But, I'm just glad that the show was able to make that happen, because now there's so much more you could do with this instead of restricting it. And I think it's pretty cool. But, I think it's odd, but there is a nod to the Fantastic Four with Ultron looking like Galactus during a point when he's going through all these universes, all these multiverses, like a big version head of him just consuming a universe in one swoop. And I thought that was pretty cool. So it just reminded me of Galactus right away. And but also there was a point too during a fight with the Watcher that I kind of catered into. It looked like something. He was going through all these universes, all different lands, and you could see it going by. There was one that had like a volcano-style world and had a castle look just like Darth Vader's castle from Mustafar. And there was another one that looked like something out of... what's the name of the movie with the blue people in it? James Cameron
Avatar?
movie.
Avatar.
There was like a land like that. There was another one that looked like something out of a Disney cartoon.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I think there are elements in there that they were throwing us saying, hey, there's multiple universes. So I just hope they don't jump him into like, Mickey's world where he's the wizard and stuff. And he kills Mickey. But, I thought it was interesting, though, to see all those. But I'm sure if you slow it down, you should be able to find out what those worlds are. But I thought it was quite interesting.
And none of those are probably accidents. That's probably all means something.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So that brings us back around to Wendy again.
All right.
Yep.
My number 3 was that the Watcher seemed very different in this episode. He or she seemed much more mortal, vulnerable, less omnipotent, and all-knowing. They really seemed afraid.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that Ultron's comment that anything is possible in a multiverse was just a play on the entire series.
Yeah.
And it was kind of strange to see the Watcher that way. But I think it's leading up to something more,
Yeah, I love that we saw emotion out of him. We got to see surprise last week, and then this week we see like the fear, and we see the what, how does he, and like he didn't react that way when Doctor Strange spoke to him. He almost just like it didn't faze him at all when Doctor Strange talked to him, but this time Ultron did affect him, like emotionally. You can see it. So
yeah, and it was almost like hypocritical in a way, because like Thanos killing half the universe, that's okay, but this isn't okay. It was like, this is the line that you've drawn. So I thought that was really interesting, and I'm curious to see where they go with all that.
Yeah, next week's going to be a good episode, I think.
Yeah, same here.
For me, my next one is I loved all Mark, you mentioned a little bit at the beginning, all the references we got to different things. Captain Marvel calling him Skynet, and and then like that fight between them. He's trying to strike her down, and finally he does get the better of her. But just all the references. There was one scene when they showed all the kind of the war room, and you had that big screen with all the missiles landing on the Earth. That was just like straight out of War Games or Terminator.
Yes, I thought the same exact thing, Steve. War Games.
Yeah, and I loved the reference that Clint makes to Raiders when they're in the KGB warehouse. That's all stuff that I grew up on all that stuff, and I think we all kind of did, all similar. So it was great to hear all those different things and pick up on them, and even the little scene where you saw like the farmhouses and the missiles going up. I think that's from a Terminator movie as well. So yeah, it was really fun to catch all those on the second watch, and I'm definitely going to watch it again before next week's episode just so I can get all those again.
Yeah, they gave a lot of tidbits in there. That War Games thing where you saw the map too. Did you notice Wakanda at the very right-hand corner?
I did not. I have to go back now.
Yeah.
It's in there. It's on the map at the
so
very
cool.
bottom right-hand corner of it. So I thought that was pretty cool that they threw that, showing that it's real.
Yeah. Very cool.
So my number 3?
Yeah.
Oh, that would be the moment that Ultron is aware of the Watcher and hearing his voice. It was like the fourth wall being broken within a movie, and worlds just collide and clash at that point. And I just love the exchange between both of them. This time we see, as you said it before, fear within the Watcher, and we see him in a physical form more so than we did before, because he was just an illumination, a shadow, something that was just a voice with bright eyes. And then within that, the Watcher questions, what would a hunger like that being unleashed on the multiverse would do? And that I bring that up because it's in a reference to what they originally put within Marvel Zombies. Because within the comic of Marvel Zombies, it was a hunger. They always hungered, and that was the whole thing. And even Ultron states it, I hunger. And it's his hunger for power and destruction. And I'm curious if we get a crossover within these two elements where they do get the zombies. Because, as we know, the second season is coming. But the way they're setting this stuff up is crossing over to more episodes. So I don't think we're probably going to get it this season because, we only have one more episode? It's only 8 episodes?
9.
9.
Yeah.
9, okay. We only have 9. But they could work it out for the next season after we get our crossover for the physical platform, which would be the MCU, because we know the Multiverse of Madness. We already know Spider-Man No Way Home. There's so many leaks. There's so many things that we know that are going to be coming into play with this. And, I'm just liking that.
All right. My number 2, the thing I've been loving about this series is that because it is A, animated, and B, existing in the multiverse, the possibilities seem endless. I think this episode demonstrates that more than most of the others. They were able to show us so many places, the devastation of Earth, great scenes in Moscow. I really liked that because, of course, that ties back into Natasha Romanoff. And then we see Asgard, Sovereign, Sakaar, Ego, Xander. I mean, what other place are we going to get all those places in one 28-minute episode? That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And it was really super cool to jump around to all those great places. I really thought the visuals were stunning, and I can't imagine what went into doing all of that, but it was great.
Did you notice something about Xandar? How it was like afterwards? Because obviously they got attacked, and it looks like because we got a captured look in one of the movies after Thanos was there, but it didn't look as destroyed in the movie version. But in this one, looks like they're rebuilding. I thought that was interesting.
I didn't see that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought because this is supposed to take place around that time. And when, Thanos is, and even if Thanos came out there looking and he got that stone from them, that Quill had.
Right.
Yeah, he would have attacked. But beforehand, the place wasn't destroyed. But I found it odd and interesting.
My next one is just, I want to talk a little bit more about Clint and Nat. I know we talked about them earlier, but it kind of threw me off when they went back to them towards the end of the episode or middle of the episode, wherever it was. Because then I remembered, oh yeah, they're on the Earth, the original Earth that we just saw that had all the nuclear missiles going off. And then, then Ultron left to go, like Wendy, like you just said, destroy Asgard and Sakaar and all those other places. So we come back to Clint and Nat, and I didn't pick up on it until like the second watch that this is that broody Mohawk Hawkeye kind of guy that we had at the beginning of Endgame, right? That's the character that he's kind of doing here. So I thought it was cool that Jeremy Renner got to sort of revisit that version of the character, and we see this loss of hope that he has. And then Nat finds the Zola paper, and so they get a plan on how to defeat, and the Watcher's watching them and like, go on, you can get it. You're right there. You're almost there. And I just thought, again, it was great to see those two, and I just love that interaction. And I really hope they find some way to get that interaction back into the main MCU, because they just have a great, I mean, I know the character is died, but it's the MCU. They can do whatever they want.
That is true.
But,
the chemistry between both of them, I like that.
Is really good. And I brought this up in one of my voicemails, I think, to one of the other podcasts, that fall that Clint makes when he lets go of Nat's hand is very reminiscent of when he had to sacrifice her to get the Soul Stone in Endgame. I thought that was really, it really gave me goosebumps seeing that thing of him falling down, and then turning over and shooting the arrow was just really great.
Yeah, very different from the first Avengers when he would fall back and shoot up. He was shooting down towards the enemy.
Yeah.
And if you look too, in that whole, what was it, like a cylinder or something? It was that he was falling into towards them. That they made it look epic and big and huge, something out of Terminator with a bunch of T-1000s. But I thought that was pretty cool, and it was a great reference to both parts, and I really enjoyed that because it was kind of a twist on the characters.
I think we're to you, Mark, to your number 2.
Oh. No, that would be Nat and Clint getting to the warehouse, and it was something that was right out of Raiders of the Lost Ark with the look. I agree with it completely. I love the references to Star Wars with Clint too, as well, and I love seeing that they were trying to find this file. The Watcher was sitting over them, and then they finally find the Arnim Zola copy, or the one and only copy of Arnim Zola in a software format.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And he's trying to tease him with the water. I could end you now.
Oh my
I've
gosh,
broken
that was
many
hilarious.
laptops. Oh no. Plus we get to see the USB arrow from Clint that goes into the Sentry. I thought that was pretty cool. The cute phone call that we get with Nat when she's making it to get to Ultron, like she's ordering a pizza.
Yeah,
it just confuses Ultron.
Yeah, I didn't put that together until I looked at the notes here that she called Avengers Tower because Ultron had taken it over. So yeah,
Yep.
I didn't connect that. I didn't connect the dots there. So
And then of course she asked for a gluten-free crust. The fight with the Sentries I thought was amazing. The look, the animation, the way it was created, especially that scene with Clint. I love that Nat has the shield that Red Guardian had in Black Widow. A lot of people are speculating that it's not. I know that definitely is his.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be Cap's that was reconditioned or something. But that was about it. I just enjoyed that overall scene within it, and just really put me in good light, especially the puns within it.
I'm just going to piggyback off of both of you. That was definitely my number 1. I was delighted with the time spent with Clint and Natasha. I thought all of the references to Indiana Jones and Star Wars were awesome. Mm-hmm. I really thought they were giving homage to Natasha's backstory. As we now know from Black Widow, the Shield loved it. And of course, Natasha loves Indiana Jones. Of course she does.
Just like she likes James Bond.
Yeah.
Remember?
The banter between the two of them are great. She says, Francis, really? For his middle name. And he says that was his Meemaw's name. And she says, your Meemaw?
Yeah, that was great.
It would have been made better if we had Scarlett Johansson voicing the role, but I thought the actress who did that did a great job, and it was pretty close.
Lake Bell. Yeah, and Lake Bell's actually a real actress. She doesn't just do, voice acting.
Yeah.
She is an actress. And I would love to see her version, because if you think about it, in the Marvel universe, if you do the multiverse physically in the MCU, you don't necessarily have to have the same person looking like that other person in that universe as that character. So they can bring Natasha Romanoff back.
Yeah.
But with somebody else playing it.
Yeah.
Very much like with Spider-Man No Way Home, a multiverse of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So now we got Tom Holland, we got Tobey Maguire, we got
Andrew Garfield.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you could have all different looking ones. Hey, you're not Peter Parker. I'm Peter Parker. Well, you don't look like me. So, you know, and I'm just waiting out of No Way Home that we actually get Miles Morales too. So,
Yeah.
But yeah, just think about it with the multiverse. Anything is a possibility within the cinematic version, which could explain the Edward Norton version of Hulk.
Sure. Yeah, so really we've talked all about, I think, my number one. What we haven't talked about yet, and I'll bring it up as my last major point of discussion, is I love the Watcher. You know, he's losing this fight against Ultron. He knows he's losing, and so the only place he can go to where he knows he'll be safe is that callback to Doctor Strange's Prism universe that he created for himself. That prison, that sounds good, that he created, and the Watcher's able to go there, and they're basically separated. It's almost like, I wonder if Ultron wouldn't be able to find them in there. You know, I mean, I'm sure he would eventually, but he wouldn't know about it. And I love the whole interaction between the Watcher and what do we call him? Strange Supreme, you know, where Strange Supreme is like, the Watcher's like, you're going to make me say it, aren't you? Yes, you're going to say it. You know, I need your help. So it was great. And I just love that. And we already talked about the fact that they held off on giving us Benedict Cumberbatch's name until the end of the episode. And it was just, so even though they didn't really leave this episode with a to be continued, I think, and everybody has talked about, I think it's confirmed that next week's episode is going to be a continuation of this episode. So I hope so.
Interesting.
Anyway.
Yeah, same here. I'd like to see that more of it. But yeah, my number one, that would be the fight between Ultron and Watcher. You know, just overall, whether it be a losing battle, but very interesting because we see the Watcher in, of all things, armor. You know, he changes his suit within it halfway through, and you know, you see his size in comparison to regular humans because they do fall to Earth. People are taking pictures, and then you do see him as pretty much some sort of humanoid. It's not that version that we know that it's just there standing with its arms crossed, talking and speaking. But as soon as like somebody hears him, has ultimate power and just turns around, it scares him because, well, here's an idea, Mr. Watcher. Don't talk to yourself. Don't monologue all the time when you're thinking out loud.
Yeah,
just a joke.
That was a great scene though, because the Watcher didn't even realize that Ultron was hearing him until Ultron turned around, because he's like, and he was being introspective about himself, and then he suddenly turns around and looks at him and goes, "No, I'm talking about you." So
That was great.
Yeah, I just love that whole thing where it all comes out, and then we do get to see the Watcher involved within the episode. So now it's not just centric to that. The comics literally just put the Watcher there as somebody who narrated what was going on to set it up like a crypt keeper from Tales from the Crypt, and just give you an overview and look, but never interacted. But with this now, he's interacting. Very much like within the comics, but the only time we saw the Watcher or the Watcher people involve, Uatu would only get involved during like Fantastic Four because he knew Reed Richards and a bunch of other people, or Ego the Living Planet, things of that nature. But with this now, he's being part of the story. So I'm curious where it would lead after this. Is the next episode going to be narrated by him, or overview, or watched at, or do we get a different Watcher? It'd be interesting if they bring in another version, and this one is outcasted because he got himself involved. Because
Broke his oath.
yeah,
Broke
we'll
his
have to
oath.
see. So
yeah, he was like Enoch from Land of the Lost.
So that
So
was
that's
all
it
of
for me.
that was all of your
Yeah.
number one. I think the only note I have that we have not already discussed is that the beginning of the episode, when before Ultravision gets all the other stones, when he kills Iron Man, I think I saw Captain America's shield and even Thor's hammer there on the ground next to him, indicating that he had basically killed all the Avengers single-handedly before even getting the stones. So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
And I think, like I said, I think that's the only note I have that we have not already talked about.
Yeah. I have a few that are different. One of which is during the fight between Watcher and Ultravision, we see the blasts. And if you look at the blasts, they have the same texture like that they do within the comics, which would be described as Kirby or Jack Kirby's energy signature, because they're kind of dotted, and the way they come out is very shaded and dotted, almost pixelated, which is very cool because that was a technique within his artwork. And I thought that was a great callback to the speckled of black and very pixelated dark colors of blasts from Jack Kirby in the comics. I really enjoyed that part of it. I think, Clint missing his right arm, which I think is a nod to DC's Green Arrow, because they are both archers, but within the Arrow storyline, Oliver actually lost his arm in an alternate version. So he had only one arm to shoot, but in this case they gave Clint a robotic arm, just like Bucky.
I was wondering about that because I thought, have I missed something? Because there's so much to keep up with Marvel.
I know.
And I was like, did I miss something? Was he missing? Did he lose his arm somewhere?
No.
Okay, so it's just a multiverse. So
it was a multiverse thing, but Arrow...
Different plots.
Oliver Queen and Arrow, that was a big multiverse effect, but I don't think they've ever done that in the Marvel Universe with Clint. But they definitely have done it. Or I think they might have done it in Logan.
It's kind of funny that Ross Marquand was in this and also missing an arm. The Walking Dead.
I think they did that with Clint with Logan because it's when Logan is in the future. It's not like the Logan movie that we saw, but in the comic, I think Clint is blind and has one arm. It's kind of strange, but I could be wrong. I haven't read that in a while. Next one, well, all right. Now I'm not going to talk about that one. We already talked about the. We pretty much went over almost everything that I had, I think I'm still wondering if they will have the Watcher within the MCU itself with Jeffrey Wright playing the character. It'd be very cool if they did that. Probably would have to make it CG because he's got such a big head. But I think it would be so awesome if that were to happen. And if they do that, then they should really have him introduce the Fantastic Four at that point, because that's how we saw the Watcher come in originally, was through the Fantastic Four. All right, on to quotes.
I've only got a couple here. At the very beginning, the Watcher says, "This particular story, this one breaks my heart." And that's where we got to start to see that emotion coming through when he's talking about this destruction of this universe by this Ultron, before Ultron discovers who he is. So. And then the only other one I have is, "Sorry, Nat, the Death Star plans are no longer in the main computer," from Clint. Like, he already kind of brought up that Star Wars reference there, Mark.
Wendy?
The one that I thought was really funny is the Watcher, when he is observing Ultron, he says, "I have seen everything that has ever happened, ever could happen, and yet, what the hell is this?"
Yeah.
I thought that was funny. You're really seeing that,
the fear and
humanity, even though I know he's not human, the humanity in him.
Yeah.
Well, he wasn't omnipotent.
Yeah.
At that moment.
Yeah.
It's like, God damn, I had an elusiveness to me.
Yeah, I thought that was funny.
Well, the only one I have, because everything else was said, which is pretty cool and awesome, and that would be a callback. Steve, you already mentioned it, Captain Marvel saying, "Listen, Skynet, I've seen the Killer Robot movie, and I gotta say, I really don't think it needs a sequel." Which basically references Terminator, the first one, and Terminator 2, but they did do a sequel, apparently. But you have to realize Captain Marvel should know that. It came out in, 94?
Right.
No, in 91 or something, right?
Maybe in this universe, Arnold Schwarzenegger died in the making of the first one.
Oh, probably. Yeah. But, obviously, if you think about it, Ultron is playing the T-2000.
Yes.
If you think about it, it's a good correlation to it. But, yeah.
I also couldn't help but to think about Ultron's idea of peace was getting rid of everybody. And that reminded me of an X-Files episode, the one with the genie.
Yes.
Where Mulder wishes for world peace.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And she gives him that by removing all other people in the whole world. And she's like, oh, you thought it was going to be easy to make, 6 billion people get along? No.
Just eliminate that equation. Eliminate everybody. Hey, you wanted world peace. The way to give you peace, here you are, alone.
That's right. I couldn't help but be reminded of that.
Well, if you think about it, Vision or Ultravision or Ultron was standing there at the very end of that universe that he started in after he destroyed it, before he heard the Watcher talking about him. There was nothing there. It was just him in oblivion. Listen to that. Peace. Yeah, you're the only one there.
And then he was like, well, now what? Now what do I do?
Exactly. And then he realizes, oh, there are multiple universes. I'll bring peace there. He just wants to destroy everything. And multiply himself, obviously, with sentries.
Well, very cool.
All right.
He used those stones very effectively, very quickly, too. So
yeah, he did. All right, so that's all I have for my notes. So shall we move on?
Yeah, let's move on.
Okay. Podcast recommendations. You got any, Lenny?
Yeah. Go ahead, Wendy. You go first.
I am obsessed with Why the Last Man. And I know Derek on Podcast Industries is podcasting that, and I'm way behind on the podcast, but I am going to catch up with it. I actually have a trip coming up, so I will definitely catch up then. I'm loving that show. Derek, as always, kills it with that podcast. They're awesome. And I am going to be podcasting on House Podcastica for Wheel of Time, which starts in November. So I'm excited about that.
Nice.
Awesome.
The only one I've got, I just glanced at my library to see what it was that I've been listening to, I've been listening to a new one called Crime Weekly with Derek Levasseur. He was a undercover police officer who went on Big Brother and won Big Brother, I think 16. And now he has this weekly podcast where they take a true crime and kind of dig deep into it and talk about it. He'll go to the town wherever it happened and kind of investigate. And so it's called Crime Weekly. It's really good.
Awesome. The only podcast I could recommend that I've been listening to, it came back on. I think he'd been working on it for a while, and then he got bigger backing. It's Disgraceland, and you could find that on Amazon Music. And he talks about a lot of famous people, famous like music acts, things of that nature, the downfall, what had happened. This past week, I was listening to, there's a 3-parter about Fleetwood Mac and their whole career, and I found it very, very interesting. It's bigger and deeper than the Behind the Music we used to get on VH1.
Nice.
But he goes deep dives on it, and I really like that, and it's very
Nice.
interesting.
What was it called again?
Disgraceland.
Oh, nice. Okay. Have to check it out.
So, yeah.
Well, as we say every week, you are listening to us on your podcast player of choice. We can be found on all the big ones, Spotify, Google Play, Apple Podcasts, or again, whatever podcast player you choose. If there's a way to give us a review on there, we would love to have a review. We would love for you to subscribe to us. Keep up with us as we continue our way through. We have a website, which is panels2pixelspodcast.com. You can interact with us on our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/panels2pixels. And we have our trusty dusty email, which is panels2pixels1 at gmail.com. That's panels2pixels1, the TO spelled out right there in the middle, and the number 1 at gmail.com. We also have a YouTube channel, which is Panels to Pixels Podcast. So go on there, subscribe, give us a thumbs up, and check us out. Next week, we will be covering the final episode of season 1 of What If. It will be episode 9. I'm hoping it's going to be a continuation of this week's episode. That's what all the indicators are, but I don't trust the indicators anymore for the show. So we might just get a standard What If next week, but hopefully we'll get something special.
Yeah, I do agree. And where else can listeners hear us? Well, I could be found on the Adrenaline Cinema podcast on the Pirate Core Entertainment Network. There we cover action movies, adventure films, thriller films, suspense films, and basically anything to get your adrenaline going. So lately I've been taking a hiatus because of the move. Obviously here, Steve's been taking care of everything. I do have episodes recorded. Obviously, I completed one with Wendy, which will be coming out soon. I just have to edit it and get it out to you.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
Yeah,
So that one will be coming up next. So look out for that. Keep in mind that was recorded a while ago. So, but it will be coming out there. I've been trying to do at least once a month with everything that I've been dealing with. So at least that there is some sort of content at least once a month with Adrenaline. And then at least with Panels to Pixels, it will be continuous as it can be if either I'm not able to do it, Steve can do it, or if somebody else could even just jump in and have fun. But we'll go from there. And I'm hoping that everything will settle down by, I'm hoping like late November. So that way you guys will have continuous content coming your way. Because we got a lot more in planned, ready to get going. So I just wanted to throw out a special thank you to Imperial Castle Toy Shop in Pawling, New York. Because after getting rid of a lot of things, I needed to sell some toys. So they were able to take some Star Wars toys off my hands, and they have a very large array of interesting toys that you could get. Vintage toys, limited edition toys, you could buy them there. You could go to their website. All you have to do is look up the Imperial Castle Toy Shop online on the website. I highly endorse them. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, you can get that there.
Cool.
So, where else can you hear? We could hear you, Wendy. I know you've been dabbling your feet in several podcasts.
Yeah, I'm
lately.
the chronic guest hoster. But I've been on House Podcastica. We covered Handmaid's Tale Season 4, and I will definitely be back for Season 5. That was an amazing experience, and probably the best season they've had. They just their seasons just keep getting better and better. Really amazing. And I'm gonna do the Wheel of Time on House Podcastica as well, so I'm excited about that.
Very cool.
Awesome.
And I send voicemails to various friends' podcasts, and they love playing those for me. Let me drop into their podcast for a couple of minutes each week. In fact, TV Podcast Industries just played like all 3 of my voicemails for Why, The Last Man's episode 2, 3, and 4 in their latest episode or last week's.
Are you loving that show, Steve?
I am really, really enjoying that show.
It's really novel and great and well acted, and
it is.
I'm so excited about that show.
It is. And then I also send voicemails to Strange Indeed for Midnight Mass currently, and I think they're going to start doing Lock and Key here in a couple weeks as well. So I'm going to be busy with voicemails.
Yes.
Here in the next few weeks, but that's where you can hear me.
Awesome. Cool. Well, I just want to thank everyone for listening. And I want to thank Steve for covering for the past 2 weeks and doing such a great job.
Oh, it was my pleasure.
And I want to thank Wendy for being on this week, too.
Anytime.
It's always a pleasure to have Wendy and everybody, all our friends, come on just to have fun and just talk about these things. I just want to thank all your listeners for listening, and we'll talk to you soon. But I am Mark.
I'm Steve.
I'm Wendy. Sorry.
That's all right. It's fine.
It's fine. And we are Panels to Pixels, and we will see you on the next panel. Good night, everybody.
Good night.